La verdad que estamos teniendo una jornada muy intensa y ahora vamos a tener el lujo de poder escuchar a otro orador internacional que viene desde Holanda. Michel Smit se dedica a lo que es sustentabilidad y tecnología, es CEO de una empresa que se llama Energy Floors y la verdad que es interesante lo que se está viendo en campo en cuanto a utilización de recursos y nuevas tecnologías en relación a la ecología y la sustentabilidad. Así que sin mucho más preámbulo, Michel Smit, un aplauso enorme para él, por favor.
Sí, gracias. Buenos días, Campus Party. ¿Cómo está? Bien. Lo siento, pero mi español no es muy bien. So I have to continue in English. So I think everyone has their headsets that needs it. Good luck to the translator. And I thank you very much for inviting me here. Thanks to Lars, Marina, and the rest of the team for inviting me to Campus Party Argentina. It's my first time in Argentina. I think it's a beautiful country. I'm a big fan of Diego Maradona, so I have to see Boca Juniors tomorrow. Somebody says it's not possible, but I'm going to try anyway. But for now, let's concentrate on what I'm really here for, and it is showing you about our company, about our mission, and about our adventure that we are on for the last 7 or 8 years, trying to make a better world. So my name is Michel Smit. I'm 44 years old. I live in Rotterdam, the Netherlands. I'm an entrepreneur, and I am an impact-driven entrepreneur, which means that I always start new startups. If I see something that needs to change in the world and it's not there yet, then I start doing it. And most of the times it develops into a company, and this time it develops into an international company that brings us all over the world. So this is a picture from 7 years ago. It's still my best picture, but it also shows that entrepreneuring makes you a little bit older after 7 years. And I'm on a mission, which means that I really think that we can change the world, that we have an ability as young people, but not only as young people, to use our power and to make the world shift into a new direction that we all feel is a little bit better than the direction it is now. And we always say that we can change the world with human power. We do that very literally. And I think we can change the world with human awareness and human creativity. And our company is just one example of how we do it. And I think the invitation is to everyone to hopefully get inspired and find your own passion and find your own goal and try to make a better world. Whether it's a small company or a big company, just do your best to make a better world. And I'll start with a little movie of how we try to do that.
I was in this club one night. I was really getting into this flow. All these people dancing, having fun. And then suddenly I had this moment that I saw this energy and it was like, kabang! What would happen if we could capture this energy and turn it into electricity? But you know, when you have this atmosphere in a club, when everything is right, and I just saw it, this could be an idea that would change the world. The only thing was, when I went to scientists and the engineers, they said, you're crazy. This is not possible. I wanted to change the world. If I want to change the world, then you cannot do that alone. I needed an architect, and I wanted the leading architect in this field, in sustainability, and somebody that really knew the dance scene. So that's how I found Henk and Michel.
When we first developed the idea, we thought it would be easy to realize, but it turned out that it was much more complicated.
Well, focusing on human power, that's really new. Everybody's been focusing on other sustainable sources like solar and wind.
2 weeks after we had the idea of dance floor, the global media was reporting all over.
There was such an innovative thing, the dance floor that generates electricity.
We found this dance club owner, well, he bought the first floor.
The idea of the sustainable dance floor, it's a little bit like John Travolta meets Olivia Newton-John, like Saturday Night Fever.
So we sold the idea before we knew it was possible.
say, what?
That's when we met Johan.
Oh, Johan!
Johan was the first one who said, yeah, we can make this. First, he did a really thorough research. There's many technologies to convert human movement, so kinetic energy, into electric energy. In the end, it proved that electromechanical conversion is the most efficient. We had a very strict deadline of the club opening.
There was a lot of pressure.
And we were still putting the floor together.
Zo wordt er morgen een energieopwekkende dansvloer gelegd.
It's the same technology we use on bikes. It's linear movement instead of a circular movement, and that's converted via dynamo or an engine into electricity.
So it's not only the floor itself, it's like getting the experience and showing that it's possible to do things more sustainably.
We see these floors being installed at this moment already in public spaces. So this can be train stations, the airports. So everywhere where there's a lot of human movement, these floors can be installed.
The feeling when the club opened, I was showing the world that you can make the impossible possible.
So this is a video made by Mazda about our idea, and it shows to us that if it's a good idea, and then people are willing to share it, and they're willing to work with you. And you saw in the video my partners, which are Steph and Henk. Steph was the one who came up with the idea. He was just, like you saw, in a club and thinking about sustainability all the time, and then just the idea hit him. And a good idea is always the start, but it's never the end. So if you want your idea to become a reality, then you have to put in a lot of effort, a lot of energy, take some risks, find money somewhere, and find the right people. And I'm going to show you in the rest of the presentation how we did that. We started in 2007, and we started our company. It was called Sustainable Dance Club, because we were focusing everything we knew, the architect, me as an entrepreneur, and Steph as a business developer, focusing on nightlife. How can we make nightlife more sustainable? And by doing that, we gave ourselves the challenge to make sustainability also cool. Because who would want to go to a nightclub, whether it's sustainable, but if it's really dull, then you don't want to go. So we had the challenge to make sustainability something that young people want to embrace, make sustainability cool. And our slogan was People, Planet, Party. You know, people, planet, profit. That's the equations for sustainability. And we think we have to redefine profit. Profit is not only economical, and we feel that if it's good for the people, and when it's good for the planet, and we're having a party, then everybody wants to join. So this was our challenge. And because we are what we call an impact-driven company, it means that we work from a mission. And I think it's a very good thing to do if you start out with your venture or with your project to define your mission, because it's something that you can share with your audience, with your public, but also with the people working with you, and also for your clients. So we defined our first mission in 2007, that we wanted to create a worldwide network of sustainable dance clubs. Much like the Hard Rock Cafe, that was what we had in mind. If you go to Buenos Aires, or if you go to other big city, then you get out, you say, okay, where is the sustainable dance club? And you say, oh, it's next to the Hard Rock Cafe and close to McDonald's. That's what we envisioned. And the mission actually behind that is we were focusing on dance clubs, but that's only one dance club. But the cool thing is that one dance club, medium-sized dance club, has 150,000 visitors every year. So our challenge was not only to make the nightclub sustainable, but also to entertain the people in a sustainable way and to try to motivate them to become more sustainable in daily life. So to give them an experience while they were going out, while they were clubbing, take that experience home and be more sustainable in your daily life, but sometimes even in setting up your company or in your studies or the choices you make in life. So that was our mission. And there is also a really big urge to do it. I come from the clubbing scene. I used to own a nightclub in Rotterdam with 1,500 people every night. So there was and night clubbing is all about consumption. If you go to a nightclub, you don't want to hear a lesson. Yeah? You don't want to go there and People telling you, don't do this, don't do that, don't drive your car, don't drink so much. So, but there's a lot of pollution and a lot of waste coming from nightclubs because it's only about consumption. So an average nightclub, like the club I used to own for 1,500 people, has a CO2 production of 450,000 kilograms a year. That is a big number, and CO2 is always big numbers, and one of our challenges is to make it tangible so that people can understand how does it relate to me. What this relates to is that one nightclub with this CO2 output needs 24,000 trees to grow for 1 year to get the CO2 back out of the air again. So it's one nightclub compared to 24,000 trees. So if you compare all the nightclubs you have in Argentina, and then you would need the whole of South America to plant trees to compensate that. So there's a big challenge, and also because clubbing at that moment wasn't sustainable at all. Also festivals weren't sustainable at all. And we found a way. There's many ways to integrate sustainability. You can do it in what we call the recycle way. So you try to do things less and less, and to use elements that have already been used. That's one way to do it. But we're focusing on innovation and trying to combine creativity of young people with innovative techniques to come to really new ways of clubbing. And we realized that if you start thinking from starting with a problem, and our problem was the CO2 offset of nightclubs. And if you start brainstorming with young people, and also even with older people, and you take the problem as a starting point, but then you let it go, then you see that the creativity and the innovation comes up. And in the beginning, people are always thinking about sustainability, doing things less, but in the end, that is not something that we all want to incorporate, because we still want to have fun. And we still want to go places and we still want to travel, but we just have to do it in a sustainable way, which means we have to find new ways. And that's the adventure that we embarked on. So we invited students, we invited architects, we invited DJs, programmers, all to think about how would this sustainable nightclub, but also the sustainable nightclub of the future, look like, and what kind of experience would people get if they go there. So we started brainstorming, just theoretically, and we made a lot of concepts. A lot of things that you could do. I think we had over 500 ideas that we could incorporate. And everybody that was working on the project got really excited, because up till then they were thinking about sustainability in a not so positive way. But when they started brainstorming with all this creative mind and coming up with all these new concepts, everybody was really enthusiastic. So after like a couple of months of brainstorming and people telling each other, wow, this is a really cool project, we decided to present it to the public, because you can think it's a good idea, and your team can think it's a good idea, but eventually, if you're setting up a company, then the public has to think it's a good idea. So we started presenting it to the public, and we made a selection of all the concepts that we came up with, and this is an example. We called it No Sweat. That was an idea of capturing the sweat of the people in a really sweaty, warm club, capturing it and using it to flush the toilets. And that is a concept that is technically very doable, because they already do this in garages and in libraries where they get the moisture out of the air. But economically, you had to dance for, I think, 3 months to flush the toilet once. So even if it's a really sweaty club. So that was economically not the best product to start developing. But for us, there were so many great reactions on our concepts, and this was one of the concepts, of course, that didn't make it, but the concept of the energy-generating dance floor was picked up immediately by the world press. So after this presentation, we got phone calls, people saying, okay, I want to buy this floor. We had people coming from Brazil to Rotterdam saying, where is this sustainable dance club? But of course, it was only a presentation. But it was the start in the process of coming from an idea into a reality. So, this was about the time that I got on board. They invited me as an ex-club owner to look at these concepts and say, okay, how can we make this into a reality? Would you, as an entrepreneur, invest in this? Would you want to start up something like this? And I was really positive, because I'm a very positive guy, and I always see opportunities, and I want to make a better world. And when this project at that moment came by, it combined clubbing and it combined making a better world. Well, this is something that I didn't have to think twice about when they asked me to come on board and I say, okay, now let's put my energy and my network to use and make this into reality. And I was lucky, I knew a lot of people in Rotterdam, and Rotterdam, I don't know, anyone of you have been to Holland and to Rotterdam? 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, well, it's a great city, it's a very modern city, I think, and there's a lot of creativity. And there's also a big focus from the local government on sustainability. So the local government and a few entrepreneurs, you saw one in the movie, they wanted to start a sustainable dance club, make it as an icon in the city that showed as an example how we deal with sustainability. And in 2008, we started developing the old Nighttown, which was a club that was empty for over 3 years, and developed it into what we called Club Watt. We worked for over a year as we were the consultants, because we had already had experience of 1 year of how to set up sustainable dance clubs. So we took a little bit of a risk selling our ideas and our concepts to these entrepreneurs to make it a real dance club. But like I said, you have to take a risk, and also sometimes you have to sell it first, and then you have to start making it. And that's what we did with this club. So we worked with the architects, but also with the toilet ladies and also with the DJs of making plans of what would a sustainable dance club look like. And of course, these are a few examples that didn't make it, like a whole green facade, LED screens powered by solar panels on the roof. This was too expensive. Another idea we had and we did realize was make a long green area in the middle of the club, showing the public and making people aware that even in an urban environment, everything comes from nature. Water, every building runs on water, power, and air. So this is what we've visualized in the middle of this club, so that even if you're just clubbing and out of your head, and that you're still related in some kind of way to nature. So we used the rainwater, we have a lot of rainwater in Holland, and we used it to cool down the main hall, the main venue, and also in the end to flush the toilets. So this is an element that we were able to implement in the club. And we also did a few very simple implementations. This is a see-through water closet that you use to flush the toilets. So normally if you go to the toilet, you just push the button and you walk away, and you don't know if it's 7 liters or 2 liters of water that you're using. Here you see how much water you're using, and you can use the stop button when you've used enough water. So it's a very simple implementation that saves about 50% of water on a yearly basis. Another element we developed for the club was a zero waste bar system, because the most of the waste that's being produced in a club is, of course, at the bars. So there's all sponsors involved that want to see you, the public, with a water in their hand coming from somewhere from the Fiji Islands and just and drink the water. In Holland, we have the best drinking water just coming from the tap. So it's nonsense from a sustainability point of view to import water and then drink it from a bottle and then throw the bottle away. So we implemented a zero waste bar system where everything came from big containers, the biggest possible, and the drinking water came from the tap. I have no idea what the drinking water quality in Argentina is, but can you drink from the tap here? Yeah? Okay, so then it's also nonsense to fly in these bottles from other countries to drink that water. And this was it was a waste saver, but also a money saver for this club, because it saved them a lot of time and because they had way less waste. And of course, the biggest implementation that we did, and you saw that in the movie, I sold it already to the new owners, was the energy generating dance floor. From all the concepts that they could choose from, of course, this was number one, because this is the product that marries having fun and sustainability in one. So, and I, as an entrepreneur, thought it was really simple. I said, okay, this is not rocket science. This is just movement and electricity. So even if I sell it, then I would be able to make it within a year. But that proved to be very much more difficult, because it hasn't been invented yet. It is a very simple technology, you saw it, same as on bikes. So a movement converted into electricity, but to implement that into a dance floor, nobody had done that before. And apparently it was, we had to look really, really hard to find companies to do it. And the companies, they said, I like the idea, but I'm not going to invest time and money because why would we? There's bigger things that we are focusing on. And then we moved to universities, and all the universities said, well, this is a great idea. Let's start to work on it. So I worked with Technical University of Delft, Technical University of Eindhoven, to start developing this technology. And then it luckily, no, it's not luckily, because we had a very strict deadline. Well, from me selling the floor from my laptop to the new owners to the implementation was exactly 1 year. So this is how long it takes. That's my conviction. If you set the deadline, and a lot of people think it's a good idea, then eventually you just have to throw in a lot of energy, and then it becomes a reality. So this is the dance floor that was there after a year. Like the day before opening, it wasn't finished yet, but the day it opened, we were able to put it in. So these were what we call sustainable, spectacular elements that we implemented in the nightclub. Those were elements that the public could contribute to make it more sustainable, and in a way that they would feel sustainability is an added value. And the whole club, this is a little bit light, but because we implemented so many sustainable technologies and implementations and smart things, we were able to reduce the CO2 production of this club drastically. It was 30% compared to a normal club, which is a large amount. So on the power level, we were able to reduce the energy bill with 117,000 kilowatt hours. And with that amount, you can power 180 homes for a whole year. So there's one club that can power 180 houses with the smart reductions that we realized. The water reduction, because of the smart toilets and use of the rainwaters, we were able to save 4.5 million liters of waters on a yearly basis. And that's enough to have drinking water for 13,000 people for a whole year. Waste, 61,000 kilograms of waste were saved. Is the same amount that 40 households on a yearly basis produce. And everything calculating back to CO2, we were able to reduce it with over 100,000 kilograms. And those are big numbers, but still it's hard to see what it really means. So if you compare it on a personal level, that means if you go to this nightclub, then during those 4 or 5 hours, you produce 1.3 kilograms of CO2. That's your footprint. And if you compare that to staying at home in your not sustainable house, and just watching a DVD and opening the fridge, going to the toilet, you are producing, in Holland, 1.8 kilograms CO2. So that means that it's better for the world to go clubbing than to stay home. And that's our way, and this is really, this is a reality. So this is the goal that we set and that we were able to realize. And so this was our first big project. It opened up in 2009. It was Club What. You can still find it on the internet. If you're coming to Rotterdam, you won't be able to find it because it closed down after 2 years. It had nothing to do with the sustainability, because the sustainability was great, but it was a whole financial thing with the local government and the entrepreneurs. So now it's still, for us, it's a mythical project that I can talk about, but if you want to find it in Rotterdam, then you can find it. So maybe the next one, hopefully, could be in Buenos Aires, because I see a lot of people dancing, and if we have all the technology, we have the knowledge, so I invite you to come up with the project. So this was a great project in 2009. And it was the start of our mission of the worldwide network of sustainable nightclubs. But setting up a business and growing your business all has to do about scalability and how easy is it to replicate what you've done onto the next project. And what we realized is that setting up a nightclub, working for 1 year, full-time, with all the local people, that's very hard to do in other locations. I was invited to come to Shanghai to do the next one, and in San Francisco, so I went there, spoke with the people, and in the end they said, yeah, well, we'll do it ourselves, and maybe we'll buy your floor, and the rest, I don't need the label of Sustainable Dance Club. So for us, it proved that it was our business model at that time was very difficult to scale up. So, and then I remembered at the start, when we were still a startup, that I spoke to Richard Branson from Virgin, and he congratulated us on our business plan. And we nearly won the Picnic Green Challenge, and he gave me a handshake, and he says, yeah, it's a cool plan, but I would focus on the floor. And I said, why? I said, because there's so much more to do. He says, because of scalability, because you have a product and floors, everybody needs a floor. So why not focus everything you have on the floors and leave the sustainability knowledge to maybe even share it open source so people can pick it up and you focus on what you're good at, and that is doing business with the floors. And thinking back about what he told me and also about the difficulties that we had with scaling up, in 2010 we changed our company name. We changed it from Sustainable Dance Club, which is really focused on clubbing and making it sustainable, so which means there's a really niche market, into energy floors. And energy floors is something, if you hear, just the combination of those two words already set your mind in motion. And yeah, I'm back. With a new slogan. So, and also because we wanted to also be interesting for people who didn't necessarily want to start up a new club. But because we want to spread sustainability, then we said, okay, but everybody needs a floor. So if you're an architect, or even if you have a new office building, or if you have a new production facility, then you could think about integrating energy floors technology. And then we changed our name. We also changed our slogan from People, Planet, Party, because not everywhere is a party, into energy is everywhere, making people aware that energy actually is everywhere. You just have to look at the situation differently. And this is what we've been doing since 2010. By doing this, by changing our company name and our payoff, we also had to change our mission, or to adapt our mission, because we weren't going to set up clubs anymore all over the world. So, and because I think working from a mission is very important to share with the people you're working with, we had to change it a little bit. And our mission at the moment is that we are raising awareness about energy consumption and energy production by making it interactive and fun, and by relating it to human scale. And this leaves, we are still doing nightclubs, we're still doing lots of events where people are dancing, but there's much more movement in the world. There's a lot of places where people are walking, there's a lot of places where people are driving. So by doing this, by focusing, our market became much, much bigger. And this is the schedule of the products and the services that we are offering to our clients at the moment. What we do and what we are special in is we are using the energy of the public as a sustainable source of energy. There's very few companies in the world that focus on human energy, but we do that. So when there's a great bunch of people, we offer to the location what we call an energy experience. So the people in that location, they are moving over an energy floor, whether it's dancing or jumping or walking. We convert that movement via the technology that you've seen in the movie into usable electricity. And we use that electricity in two ways. We use it for power plugins, so we can actually use that energy that's being generated to power low power devices. So that can be cell phones, most of the time it's LED lighting, but there's so much development in technology where power consumption is getting down that we are able to power much more devices and installations with the energy coming from the public. And this is a field that I'm really enthusiastic about, and that where innovation plays a big part. So we make the energy of the public usable, and it's up to the rest of the market and for us to try to connect the new innovations to that human power. So that's the power plugins, and what we realized is equally important is what we call feedback plugins. So we give information about how much energy is being produced at that moment and over a certain period. And that ties into the connectivity of things. So it's the floor and the system is also a sensor. How many people are moving in that location? How much energy are they producing? Which direction are they moving? And this connects into the big data and to the Internet of Things connectivity. And what we try to accomplish with our installations and together with our clients is to create impact. So not only financial impact, because we are a commercial company, so we have to make money, but in the end, we feel it's more important the impact that we realize with our company and also with our installations. And the impact that we realize is twofold. That's energy savings, because we have a new source of energy that hasn't been used before. But it's mostly about the consciousness of the people. People being aware, saying, hey, this is the amount of energy that I'm producing, this is the amount of energy that we are producing. Let's be very careful with that and use it in the most efficient way. And what we're doing is just an example, but it translates into the real world and into all the other locations, how to deal with this. So we are convinced that this new way of energy production and energy savings, combined with consciousness, hopefully leads to a more sustainable world. And this is the mission that we're on. To do this, we developed a patented technology. Like I said, it's not rocket science, but still we had to invent it. And when it was invented, we had to patent it. So you saw it already in the movie. We work with a dynamo system, and there's movement in the floor. We would have loved to have you dancing here on a dance floor. We tried to find sponsors for it, but for the first year, it was still a little bit too expensive to get it here. Hopefully for next year campus party, we are able to put it here, and we have you all dancing and feeling what it means to produce electricity. So there's movement in the floor. And we use that movement to move a generator or a small dynamo, and the dynamo produces the electricity. And we capture that electricity into battery systems to use it for the plugins that I just showed you. And these are a few examples of the software that we use for the data visualization. And for every installation that we do, we try to do something new in visualization of this data to make it aware, make the public aware what can be done. And what we mostly do is like a dashboard, so it shows how much power is being produced at this moment and over a certain period of time. And then we try to compare that to an electric car driving. With the power that's produced with this dance party, how long could this car drive? Or how many cell phones would you be able to charge? This we do with a lot of designers, and this is also a challenge that we did with the campus party in Holland to have hackers, but also interactivity designers working with our data. So we get data from the floor, and it's open source, so we can give it to the designers to make even games with it. We just designed a Flappy Bird game, where the people on the dance floor have to jump to keep the bird in the air, and then if there's no energy, it crashes. But this is just an example, and this is something that we are constantly developing. And this is a movie that shows what the things that you can do with the amount of energy that's being produced with different types of dancing. So you see, tango is not the most energetic dance, but it was in there. So we need 333 people for one fruit juicer. So I think that's about this room. Maybe we can try it later on. I'll show you a few examples of the projects that we're doing. This is a project we're doing for Shell. It's called the Shell Energy Lab. And Shell is on a mission to show the young people other sources of energy. And there's a lot of debate about Shell being, of course, one of the companies that does the most damage to the environment. At the same time, they feel the urge, but also the financial urge, to move into the more sustainable directions. And we're helping them to educate the young people. These are not the people that are putting petrol in their cars yet, but these are the people that are still the young people that are open to look at energy and the energy equation in a different way. So we do a lot of projects for young kids. The young kids, you don't have to inspire that much to jump onto the floor. They just run onto the floor and start going crazy. Older people are a little bit reluctant to jump on it, but in the end, we see that people get inspired to get on the floor. This is a project we've done for Skoda with the launch of their new electric car. We get invited. Our clients are mostly big brands at this moment and marketing companies that want to give the public of this commercial company a sustainable experience and show them new ways of energy. And this was Skoda in the Auto Salon du Mobile in Paris, where they launched the electric car. And they wanted to create a big buzz for the press and for the public. And they used our dance floor. They had a dance group from Czechoslovakia that danced every hour. They filled up the batteries, and when the batteries were full, they were able to plug in the electric car, and the car was starting from the energy of the dancers. And that was a great event which got a lot of press. Another event we did was a Sonar Festival for Nokia in Barcelona. Are you familiar with Sonar Festival? It's an electric music festival which has the biggest named DJs from all over the world, but also they're focusing on creativity a lot and about innovation. And this was an event installation we did for Nokia, so that means it was already a couple of years back, where we had a dance and charge mini club. It was a mini discotheque where there was an energy generating dance floor in, and you could give your cell phone at the reception. You started dancing for half an hour or over an hour, and then you got your cell phone back powered by the energy of the dancers in the club. And that was it led into a lot of enthusiasm, and it was a nice, and also it's something that's very useful, because when your cell phone is empty, you really feel you need this energy. But this energy can just come from yourself if you do it in a smart way. Another project we did for Nokia, that was the year after, and they wanted to make a bigger gesture. And they said, now we're not focusing on individual reaction of your cell phone, but what can we do with combined energy? How much impact can we make if we combine all the energy of the people? So we installed a floor on the central square in Madrid. And during the day they had dance classes, but fitness classes, all activities on the floor. We captured all that electricity into battery systems, and we used it to power the LED Christmas tree at night. So with the power of the people during the day, it was shining bright during the night. And with another client, that's the World Nature Fund, we were able to do Earth Hour in Paris. I don't know if you're familiar with Earth Hour in Argentina. To raise awareness, they switch off the lights of landmarks for 1 hour. They did it also with the Eiffel Tower. And underneath the Eiffel Tower, we installed an energy dance floor. And then we were dancing together with the people from Paris and the people from the World Nature Funds and with the panda for half an hour and for an hour. And then we generated enough energy to switch the Eiffel Tower back on. So that was a big landmark that we were really proud over. But it didn't stop with yet, so we were able to power and to make an even bigger gesture. And maybe you've seen it already, but 2 years ago we were at the Corcovado in Brazil, which for me was a really sacred place, and it was really magical, and no commercial company can do an activation at this place. Because it's sort of holy ground. And we were invited to place our technology there. That was, for me, was really special. So it meant that it was accepted, the good cause was accepted, and that the government of Rio wanted to show it to their public. So it was a great event, and there was also attention on national television. So it is in Portuguese, but because I'm so proud of it, I'm still going to show it, and I hope you understand.
Os turistas que visitaram hoje o Cristo Redentor no Rio ajudaram a gerar luz para iluminar um dos cartões postais mais famosos do mundo.
Com o tempo chuvoso e nublado, era preciso esperar a hora certa para ver o Cristo inteirinho. Quando as nuvens se afastavam, a multidão de turistas comemorava. Eu estou emocionada.
Porque eu quase não consegui vir, mas eu vim pro Cristo hoje.
E hoje, todos os pulos de alegria eram muito bem-vindos. Principalmente se fossem em cima desta plataforma instalada no chão. As 9 placas são geradoras de energia e qualquer movimento sobre elas se transforma em eletricidade.
Energia, energia, energia.
A cada passo ou pulo, o painel registrava a quantidade produzida.
Um efeito educativo no longo prazo para as pessoas se identificarem como sendo produtoras de energia também.
A tecnologia holandesa já é utilizada em pistas de dança em Amsterdã. O padre Omar, reitor do Santuário do Cristo Redentor, abençoou a plataforma. As centenas de pessoas que já passaram pelo Cristo hoje se movimentaram aqui em cima dessas placas, já geraram energia suficiente para carregar pelo menos 300 baterias de celulares. Mas como a movimentação de gente é muito grande, toda a energia produzida vai ficando armazenada para completar o espetáculo no fim do dia. A turma de Recife chegou a dançar um frevo numa produção em larga escala para gerar luz.
Maravilhosa essa tecnologia de pular e iluminar.
A hora que eu ver o Cristo iluminado, eu vou saber que eu ajudei a iluminar ele. Bem legal, bem legal.
No começo da noite, o resultado de todo o esforço. A eletricidade produzida coloriu o coração do Cristo de azul e todo o monumento de verde, simbolizando a energia limpa e renovável.
So that was the project we did in Brazil 2 years ago. And this was an overview of the project that we've done so far. So we come from Rotterdam, which is a small city, and apparently because the idea is good enough, we get invited to the most special places on earth in Brazil, but even in Argentina. So this is an overview of what we've realized so far. We call it the world of energy floors. Our mission, of course, to make that world as big as possible. With the amount of joules generated, over 5.1 billions, with installations in 5 continents and 35 countries. And you see that Argentina is still missing. So this is a goal that I give to you to have Argentina on the map for next year. This is the people that we reach, because the installations are important, but like with raising the consciousness, is reaching the people that's equally important. So with our events, which is now over 240 at this time, 25 permanent installations, we have reached over 12 million people. And of course, if we have even made them by 1% more sustainable, then our impact on the world is worthwhile. So we have, of course, we don't stop here. Every 5 years we make a 5-year plan. So now we started with a new plan for the next next couple of years. In 2016 we started with an event what we call the Global Dance Challenge, where we challenge cities or organizations to organize a 4-hour-long event to generate as much energy as possible. We've done that now in Holland, but we would like to do that, of course, all over the world. The world record at this moment was set by a group of students in Holland with over 600,000 joules in 4 hours. This record has tried to be broken by students and in nightclubs. It hasn't been broken yet, so now it was the primary school kids that had the most energy. Another product that we developed this year and launched a couple of months ago is what we call the Container Club. So it's a sustainable nightclub that travels. It's a sea container, a 20-foot sea container that flaps open. There's solar panels on the roof. There's an energy transfer inside. And this is an off-the-grid dance club. So it's a small club, but it's off the grid and you can put it anywhere and it powers itself. It's powered by the sun and powered by the people. And because it's a container, it's easy to move around. And this is now traveling in Germany. And hopefully we can have it visit other continents too. So this is still focused on the nightlife, but we've realized, like I said earlier, that there's much more movement than only dancing people. And we are moving into different fields. You probably recognize these pictures. So everywhere there's a lot of people together and they're moving, we could implement our technology. We wouldn't implement the dance floor because that wouldn't fit into the Boca Stadium or into the square. But we see there's great potential for our technology. But that also means that we have to develop further. So, because we are connected still with the technical universities and with a network of investors and engineers, we are now developing products to be implemented into public spaces. This is a visualization that we made that can be implemented on airports. So where there's human traffic in the airport hallways, we can capture that energy, store it, and use it to power their cell phones. This is a visualization we made for the exits of parking spaces, and this can be done with the same technology. We've investigated that the load of a driving car is not that different from people that are jumping or running, so we could use the same technology, but then just implement it into a different area. Those are the products that we're developing at the moment. It also means that our products have to be able to scale up, have to be industrialized, and we are working with a lot of designers and universities to make that possible. And last year we launched the first prototypes. So this is the prototype of what we call the sustainable energy floor. The next version after the sustainable dance floor, where we convert the energy of moving people, walking people, into usable electricity. And the latest development that we're doing actually at the same time is combining solar energy with kinetic energy. So into our tiles that we can place in airports or in squares or outside, there's solar technology implemented in the top layer and also kinetic energy. So we have both sustainable sources. And we are at the moment doing tryouts with these new products. So we do pilot installations close to home. And this was in London, where we made the first kinetic and solar entrance into a pavilion, where we just tested it out to the public, and it works really well. And this is the stadium in my hometown, in Rotterdam, where I was lucky to know the director of the stadium, and they were thinking about building a new stadium and implementing also innovative technologies. So he approached us and he says, why can't we use your technology that you already did in this nightclub in Rotterdam into my big stadium? And we said, okay, well, this is a scale that is a little bit bigger than we're used to, but let's try to do small parts. So we did it at the entrance. This is my son, who was at the Feyenoord Stadium creating energy at the entrance where people were walking in, and we also implemented the technology in front of the seats. So whenever people were jumping or cheering because Feyenoord was scoring a goal, then they were creating energy. And we were not so lucky that game because we lost, so we didn't create that much energy at this place. But this shows that there's no limit to the scale of technology. Once the technology is good and it serves a purpose, then with the right choices and with the right people and with the right people helping you, you can come a long way. And I always end with this picture. This is something that I have in my mind as a dream for a couple of years already, even when we started out, and to have a whole stadium filled with sustainable dance floor tiles. So we use the energy of the players and of the public to power the stadium and to make a big impact. And I'm pitching this. I've pitched it at Rio, at the opening of the Olympic Games. They liked it, but they didn't implement it. I saw that in 2018 there's the Youth Olympics in Buenos Aires. So maybe we can implement it there, but I'll leave that up to you. Okay? I'll give my phone number and the website. And to convince people, you just have to show them the latest clip that I'm going to show you how this would work stadium size. So that's it, Campus Party. Thanks for your energy.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks, Michel.
You're welcome.
Muchas gracias. La verdad que es impresionante empezar a ver cómo podemos bailar y podemos movernos sin convertir energía cinética en energía eléctrica para un montón de usos y de aplicaciones. Tengo el Catchbox, para los que no conocen o llegaron hoy, es el instrumento que usamos para hacer las preguntas y respuestas. We make a short Q&A.
Oh yeah, of
Michel.
course. Yeah, go ahead.
Tenemos tiempo solamente para una pregunta, así que ya arrancamos. Vamos por acá. Ahí está. Ups, ahí está.
Thank you. Hello.
Ahí está.
I got a question. How can you apply this to a home, to a regular house? Because I see that you apply it only in areas that are full of people, which I consider highly efficient, but I don't know if you can apply in a house.
Of course, you can apply it in a house, but our technology only becomes efficient when there's constant movement. So we get a lot of requests, and also we do some studies with how to implement it into smart housing. So it's more of a detection. Where are the people walking? Then it's an energy producer. So it ties into what we call interactive architecture, or sort of living architecture. There the floor senses where the people are and how they're moving. But it wouldn't be in housing a really efficient energy generation.
Thanks, Michel. We have another question.
Okay.
You want to throw it?
I will
the
try.
Catchbox? Who want to make another question? Listo. Bien cerca, bien cerca.
Hi. I have a question. In which countries did you get more help from the governments to implement this?
I think most of the countries that we are invited to, it's either or a big commercial company that wants to be the first to showcase the technology, or it's a local government that invites us. We've been to Italy and similar events like Campus Party to showcase technology. That's always funded partly by the government. So a lot of it is in Europe, of course, but yeah, like you see, we've been to Brazil, and now we're in Argentina. So, and we get approached a lot by local governments.
Thanks, Michel. Una pregunta más tenemos. Por acá. Ahí está. Oops. Oops.
Hi. Is it feasible to put it on roads where cars actually go through them?
Yeah, that's doable. But in an energy efficient, in the energy balance, it would capture part of the energy of the movement of the vehicle. So if you just put it in a road, then it would cost the car more petrol to drive.
Okay.
So that's not efficient. But at places where the car has to brake, so it has to lose its energy, there we can implement it. So like you saw before the exit of a parking space, then it's useful. Yeah.
Thanks, Michel. Estamos perfecto de tiempo, si tenemos más preguntas. Si quieren pasarse la bola entre ustedes. ¿Quién quiere hacer otra? Ahí.
Hi, my English is very bad, sorry. But,
no problem.
What happened with the first project students?
With, some of these students, they did their final thesis at our company. So some of the students worked with us in the first years of their professional career. And a lot of them have moved into different companies that are focusing on sustainability. And in Holland, almost every company now has a sustainability group that is focusing on innovation. So yeah, there's a lot of places that you can go to after your study to implement it.
Thanks, Michel.
Okay.
Démosle un aplauso enorme, otro más.
Okay. Gracias.
Michel Smit. Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Muchas gracias. Antes de arrancar con la próxima actividad, me piden de la organización.